The modern matrix has lied to you about companionship. It has told you that the ultimate destiny of a powerful man is to conquer a woman who demands constant worship, or to drain his life force chasing a superficial prize that operates entirely on a low-vibrational ego frequency. But as we exposed in our last episode, the ghost male refuses to play this rigged simulation. He does not chase, he does not beg, and he does not compromise his cosmic mission for the temporary dopamine loops of the herd. Yet, if you look closely at the esoteric tapestry of history, a deeper riddle emerges. If the ghost male is an untrackable entity who operates entirely in the shadows, why is it that throughout cinematic prophecy and sacred scripture, certain women manage to stand right beside him without draining his frequency? Welcome to the third episode of the Ghost Male series here on the Ultimate Enlightenment channel. Today, we are pulling back the veil to decode the exact type of woman who sticks around the Sigma male, the rare, high-vibration feminine entity who doesn't try to box him, cage him, or manipulate his trajectory, but instead anchors herself to his divine alignment. To understand this woman, you must first erase everything the mainstream has taught you about relationships. The civilian crowd enters connections to take, to possess, and to fuel their daily stress loops. The woman who aligns with the ghost male operates on an entirely different evolutionary grid. She is not a distraction. She is a sentinel. She does not demand that the ghosts step out of the shadows and perform under a literal Hollywood spotlight just to satisfy her ego. She understands that his true power commands the darkness. Instead of trying to pull him down into the chaotic weather pattern of the civilian crowd, she creates a protective sanctuary around his isolation. She is highly intelligent, spiritually awake, and mathematically precise in her loyalty. Look closely at the archetypes hidden right in front of your face. The storytellers of old left the blueprint perfectly woven into the grand theater of cinematic prophecy. When you watch Superman, the masses focus entirely on the sci-fi action. But the esoteric truth lies in the dynamic between the celestial entity and the brilliant journalist, Lois Lane. As Clark Kent, the ghost suppresses his multi-dimensional authority. He puts on the civilian glasses and pretends to be ordinary, operating right in the middle of the noisy masses. The average woman in the Matrix is completely blind to the godhood radiating underneath the suit. She only sees the low-altitude persona. But Lois Lane is a seeker of truth. As a journalist, her entire life purpose is to cut through the illusions of the simulation, decode hidden structures, and see what has always been in front of the herd. She does not fall in love with a superficial mask or demand that he conform to civilian expectations. She recognizes his raw, cosmic frequency. She sticks around the ghost because she respects the absolute magnitude of his mission. She becomes the ultimate vault for his secret identity, keeping the veil securely fastened from the corporate controllers and a world infected by the civilian zombie virus. She doesn't seek to commodify his power. She protects his peace so he can save the planet. If you want the ultimate spiritual key to this archetype, you must look directly into sacred scripture. For decades, Jesus walked the physical plane, covering his true face and speaking only in riddles, metaphors, and allegories to shield his cosmic identity. While the uninitiated masses ran in circles demanding signs, miracles, and political theater, Mary Magdalene operated on an entirely different wavelength. The mainstream Matrix has tried to distort her story for centuries, trying to fit her into a neat little drawer of civilian misunderstanding. But the esoteric reality is that Mary Magdalene was a high-vibration entity who recognized the absolute design of the Master. When the rest of the disciples panicked, doubted, or succumbed to survival mode, Mary stood firm at the foot of the cross. She was the very first person to witness the frequency shift at the resurrection. Why? Because her spirit was perfectly aligned with his data. She did not seek to trap the Master in a traditional, low-vibrational matrix of marriage or earthly domesticity. She understood that he belonged to the infinite expanse of the second heaven. She stuck around him because she was a custodian of the frequency, anchoring herself to his lineage of knowledge and funding his sanctuary with absolute, unyielding devotion. She wasn't chasing a husband. She was serving the divine alignment. And yes, many books outside of those in the Bibles explicitly stated Mary's emotional desires for Jesus, and some even suggested they got married, but we will not talk about that right now. What is the cosmic secret that allows this specific type of woman to remain in the ghost's orbit without causing a spiritual leak? It is the complete absence of the ego virus. The typical modern woman, conditioned by the Hollywood romance virus, views a man as an asset to be calculated, managed, and changed. She wants to pin a badge on his chest and file him away in a box. But the ghost male completely defies their mathematics. The moment a woman tries to manipulate his mind or disrupt his sanctuary, Flash, he initiates Ghost Protocol and dissolves back into the ether. The Sigma's woman doesn't try to rewrite his code. She has already decoded her own internal matrix. She has stepped out of the playground of daily drama and dopamine loops, meaning she doesn't require constant, superficial validation to feel secure. She walks in the shadows right beside him, silent and invisible as the wind when necessary, yet possessing an undeniable internal light. She understands the supreme law of energy preservation. Her presence does not drain his life force. It acts as a spiritual amplifier that allows him to work tirelessly on his mission in the dark. Look at the highest tiers of the physical matrix to see this calculation play out in real time. Look at the empires built by the world's most famous entrepreneurs. When you study their high-profile divorces, the mainstream media focuses entirely on the financial settlements and the superficial gossip. But if you apply an underworld analysis to their parting statements, the ex-wives always emphasize the exact same narrative. My husband was never there. He was always too busy. He was completely obsessed with his work. The civilian woman enters a union expecting a man to orbit her personal emotional weather system. She demands that he pause his empire building to fuel her daily validation loops. When an entrepreneur or a tech pioneer refuses to dismantle his laboratory, the low-vibration contract fractures. But the woman who belongs in the ghost's matrix doesn't suffer from this matrix splinter. She doesn't view his relentless focus as neglect. She understands that a high-frequency architect cannot simply turn off his download from the universal cloud to participate in ordinary domesticity. While the civilian woman walks away complaining about his absence, the sentinel woman anchors the perimeter, fully aware that his temporary absence in the physical room means he is actively conquering the unseen grid. The masses will continue to run in circles, chasing trendy relationship buzzwords and looking for love inside the very matrix that binds them. They will keep looking for a standard civilian partnership, completely blind to the sacred multidimensional alignment standing right beside them. The ghost male builds his empire in the dark, and the woman who stays by his side is the one who helps him guard the laboratory. She does not ask for permission to exist, she does not demand a spotlight, and she never forces him to compromise his frequency. Together, they execute the protocol, leaving the simulation completely scrambled in their wake. If your spirit aligns with this high-vibration data, and you are ready to completely decode the deep, hidden dynamics of the untrackable archetype, do not let your signal fade out. Lock in your connection to the source right now. Hit that subscribe button to anchor yourself to this lineage of knowledge. Turn on all notifications so you are immediately alerted the exact second the next cosmic download drops. Share this video and drop a comment below. Your engagement actively forces the platform's algorithm to push this message past the corporate controllers, helping this channel grow and awakening the slumbering souls worldwide.